hear an ancient voice whispering from the void, and it chills my lightless heart.
G'day everyone, DarkCell here. We're going to have another look at a replay from the TSL3, the Team Liquid Star League, featuring some of the very high quality players, and of course it's going to be featuring some invites from Korea and that sort of thing. We've got one more qualifying round left next week, I believe it is, and then we'll actually be getting into the nitty-gritty of the whole tournament, where it's going to be very, very cool to watch. Hopefully everyone can tune into that. Meanwhile, here on Metalopolis, the coolest map in the whole of the rotation in my book, although perhaps one of those newer maps might take that spot quite soon. Anyway, we have two Zerg players. This is going to be a Zerg versus Zerg. I haven't really done that many Zerg versus Zergs on the, well, the whole channel, I guess, really at all. But this is going to be between DarkCell from the Requiem Esports, I believe the clan is called, and DarkCell has done quite nicely recently. He's got a few silver medals I saw on Team Liquid, so he's certainly a quality player. That was from things such as IEM USA and Craft Cup, I believe it was. I can't really remember. But he's going to be over here at the 3 o'clock position on Metalopolis. Meanwhile, his opponent from the same clan, Requiem Esports, is going to be Shuffle. Now, Shuffle is actually from Australia, so he will actually understand my crazy language that I'm using. And he is obviously a very quality player as well. He unfortunately didn't have a Team Liquid database thing, but whatever, we'll get him one eventually. But yeah, Shuffle has come over here to the 9 o'clock position on Metalopolis. Now, this game apparently is quite epic for a Zerg versus Zerg. We get into the later stages of things, so I'm sure some of you will be quite inquisitive as to what later game Zerg versus Zerg looks like. I know some of the times we have had a few in the GSL where there have actually been some longer games, but never really anything too long. I think the max they sort of go for is around 20 to 25 minutes, that sort of timing. But this one goes just a little bit longer, and we will see some more of that late game style there, which hopefully some of you guys can get a little bit of practice on. If you're not really sure, you can see some strategies that are used, and we'll certainly be focusing on that thing as we do like to do here. So, as we can see from the production tab, these guys are so in sync, they are wearing each other's pants. If you have a look at the production tab, the only little difference here is the fact that the Zerglings popped out just a tiny bit quicker for Shuffle. So he's got his Zerglings out a little bit quicker. The metabolic boost is just his metabolic boost is slightly in front. So he may have I don't know, maybe he got a better split. He may have gotten a little bit less lag than DarkCell did. I'm not sure, but either way, these guys essentially are doing the exact same thing for the moment. Although we do have a slight differentiation here, it looks as if DarkCell is not going for the Roach Warren. Meanwhile, Shuffle actually is. And as we can see here, Shuffle's getting caught out of position. One of his overlords actually being sniped away by this queen with their 10 bajillion range that they have. He's going to try and pick that off straight away. Shuffle, as you can see on the tab, has chucked down another overlord quite quickly because he knows he's going to lose this one. It is very uncool to be caught behind with your overlords like this, just like it is in a bit of cricket. But Shuffle's going to have to just reclaim that overlord there and get back in the green. In fact, he is in the green, but he's still supply capped, so he's going to need another overlord to actually continue the production. But it looks as if he may actually try and attack here. He does have, they've got even lings at the moment. I believe it's even. Yeah, we've got 12 on 12. So this is not going to end up some sort of battle where one of the players will have superior numbers unless he catches them out. Looks as if Shuffle's just hanging around the front here, just providing a little bit of pressure. He's not actually going in for an attack, of course. It's not the smartest idea to try and rush up a ramp against this many lings, because you generally will probably get caught. Looks as if Shuffle there with a little bit of micro trying to send one of his Zerglings in, but it does get picked up there. He was probably trying to get a surround on the rest of DarkCell's lings, but DarkCell with some fantastic micro. Let's have a look at the micro tab, not the music enabled tab. And as we can see here, Shuffle currently sitting on around about 200 APM, 220 there. Meanwhile, DarkCell sitting on 100. So it looks as if we do have those roaches out that we mentioned a little bit earlier here. So Shuffle will be able to defend against these early lings that are coming in. However, this queen is not going to have a good day. She gets splattered all over the floor The Roaches, meanwhile, are going to be able to force away these Lings, but still doing a lot of pressure here, just sitting out the front, and there are a whole heap more Lings, as you can see. We actually have some off to the side, there are some up here. It looks as if DarkCell's going to try and pull the Roaches off the ramp if he can, but it looks as if he won't be able to. Shuffle way too clever to actually go in on that, but it looks as if he really does have a problem with his Zerglings, because he really does not have a superior number at all. Looks as if the Zerglings might try and bust their way through, get that Overlord out of the way, but more Roaches are coming down now. It looks as if Shuffle will be successful in fending this off. He does lose a couple of his Roaches, unfortunately, but the damage has been done. Now, if we have a look at the income tab, we've got both of these guys sort of sitting on even for the moment, but it looks as if Shuffle's going to get a few more units out in just a jiffy, and he will have some more drones as well. So he's going to have this second hatchery up and running. It will be pumping out a few drones quite soon, no doubt. The Queen comes down from the high ground. She got reincarnated up here, as the Zerg like to do. But it looks as if DarkCell has once again found another Overlord. Hopefully Shuffle pulls back all of these Overlords that have been flying their way over here, or floating their way over. They are like hot air balloons. They just float around and not actually directly aim for something. But he pulls that back, and he's certainly getting really hardcore on his creep tumors at the moment. We do have 2 active creep tumors up here, 3 in fact. There's another one just caught down in the corner here. But it looks as if he's going to try and get a lot of creep out. Meanwhile, Shuffle just scouting around the map, just checking out just in case there's anything weird going on. He does see that there are a lot of creep tumors here, and he will be able to pick off some of these drones. This will be fantastic if he can. He does get a few of them out of the way. Every single drone counts in Zerg versus Zerg. And it looks as if he does bust into the main base here. A lot of these Zerglings have gotten inside. They will be picked off. However, there are a lot of drones, some nice micro. It looks as if these extra Zerglings are not going to be able to do too much damage. And the cleanup crew comes in from the back there as some extra Zerglings pop into the base of DarkCell. So we'll have a quick look again at the drone tab. We've got DarkCell currently sitting on 22 drones, Shuffle currently on 34. So Shuffle doing a fantastic job at the moment, just controlling the tempo of the game at the moment. It's just sending in Lings around to scout the map, picking off drones and anything he can where possible, just to try and make up for that partially unfortunate start where he did lose a couple of he lost one Overlord and then lost a couple of his Roaches, but he's certainly doing a great job now. As we can see on the production tab, we do have +1 to missile weapons on the way from both players. We will see that DarkCell is actually quite in front in that regard. Shuffle's only just started that up, and we do have Roach movement on the way for DarkCell as well. So he's going to be able to get his own Roaches out, which should be popping out shortly. I would assume he's going to get some on the way. I'm not really sure why he hasn't started them yet, but an Overseer has been started just in case he needs to spot anything coming from underground, just in case Shuffle has grabbed the Mohawk on the Roaches, but he hasn't gotten that yet. I don't think we'll actually see that. I'm not pretty sure that's not the most common thing in Zerg versus Zerg. Once again, I'll just point out, guys, that I am not an expert on playing Zerg, so if you guys have some tips or whatever, that sort of thing, for playing Zerg, please feel free to comment below, and of course I'll take that into account for next time, but I'll certainly do my best for you guys. So meanwhile, the Roaches has still not popped out yet for DarkCell. He's still just sitting on these few Lings that he's got. He's droning up quite hard, just trying to make up for the fact that he lost quite a few in that battle just before, when the Lings busted down the door and said, ho ho ho, I'm stealing all your drones. And it looks as if an Overseer coming through, putting down a goop on the Evolution Chamber, just sort of slowing down that upgrade of the +1 to missile attacks there. And if he can keep this up, this is one thing which has sort of been developing in Zerg versus Zerg, is the usage of Overseers to goop up your opponent's base, especially if you can do something on their hatchery to make sure that their lava injects are slowed down quite a lot. We did see in one of the games that Moonglade played in, he kept his opponent's hatchery down for quite a long time, so that actually let him get up on his opponent and just absolutely macro the hell out of that game, and he won that one quite convincingly, if I remember correctly. But we will see that +2 weapons are on the way from DarkCell. He's got a third hatchery popping up in the base, just as Shuffle did, as we saw before. The +2 weapons just over half done now, and he'll obviously have that advantage with his Roaches when they do come into the foray. Shuffle, meanwhile, taking this third base, which is Going to be quite interesting to see if these Zerglings come in and harass it, and they do indeed, right on time. They're coming into the third, having a few shots at it. They're not really going to do too much. There are a few too many roaches here, but well, they have done a little bit of harass there just in case. Meanwhile, the third base for DarkCell has gone up, so he's going to have his own third just coming up now. If we just have a look down here, we have a stream of roaches just coming through. This roach train is going to be coming up the ramp shortly. As we can see, both of these players, if you actually have a look on the minimap here instead of the main screen, we've got overlords everywhere. This is a lot like what ZvZ was in the early stages in Brood War, where you would see just overlords all over the place, being able to spot and just see where army movements were taking place. And as you can see here, we've got the exact same thing for these players here. So DarkCell now knows that these roaches are going to try and come in the front here. The creep chimmers are going to help out here with the movement of all the roaches, of course. Not really going to give an advantage to anyone, which is why the chimmers kind of surprised me. But DarkCell getting a beautiful concave there on the forces of Shuffle. Shuffle forced into that convex shape. We're going to get a bit technical here. It's like I'm Bill Nye, the science guy or something, but he's comes in with some support though. Shuffle coming in with some extra roaches, being able to snipe out the rest of DarkCell's roaches. The Queen goes down, drones coming into battle. They're not happy with this invasion. They're going to try and do what they can. Some more roaches popping out for DarkCell from the third base, and he will be sending them in to support the army here at the natural, but they will force them out. They're chasing them away, and it looks as if these roaches from Shuffle are going to just sit back and wait for the troops to return home. So Shuffle sort of just doing some nice damage there, doing what he can to try and force away what roaches he can from DarkCell, but it looks as if he's gotten this third up quite nicely, which is really good to see. That's one key thing, is if you can attack and secure that third base, that's really going to give you a good advantage when you're playing against another player. Now, as you can see, we've got some spine crawlers popping up here. He's going to use them, of course, to try and defend this third base while he is while he's teching up and getting some more tech going. As we saw there, just the +2 missiles is now done for the roaches, so they're going to be doing about equal damage. There's no they're sort of even on the upgrades for the moment. +2 and to weapons and +1 to armor for Shuffle. Meanwhile, these roaches down here have a +2 just to the weapons, so they may have a slight disadvantage, although it sort of really depends on the numbers. And actually, by the look of it, Shuffle has a huge lead in that regard. So we'll see what happens. We can see on the production tab that infestors are on the way. We've got the infestation pit is here for DarkCell. He's got the extra energy thingo done. We do have some lings popping in here down to the bottom base at the 5 o'clock, doing what they can. Too many roaches here to actually do any damage at all, so they're going to have to retreat. And speaking of the infestors, we actually have Shuffle done with his infestation pit as well. Some more infestors popping out. They're slowly getting up their numbers of infestors. Shuffle currently sitting on 1. Meanwhile, we do have DarkCell sitting on 3. He's now up to 4. So this is going to turn into a huge roach infestor battle shortly. We're going to see who has the better micro to try and make those sort of concave shapes, as we mentioned before, and who can put down the more effective fungal growths as well. So we'll see if that all comes into play. Now, one thing that, as we mentioned before, DarkCell had a little bit of extra creep shimmer out here just to gain some ground. I'm kind of, like I said before, it's a bit surprising because in ZvZ it obviously doesn't really benefit anyone. But here we go, back to the action. We do have fungal growth going down. The infestor gets sniped, so Shuffle is down 1 infestor. He's now down to 1. Meanwhile, we do have DarkCell up at 6 infestors. If he can bring them into this battle, this could be quite huge. As we can see, there are a lot of roaches here for Shuffle. He has a huge group here. He's actually got 62, sorry, I'm reading off the wrong pane. 62 roaches are out on the map. This is a massive group of roaches, so we'll see if the infestors come into play, which they certainly should if DarkCell is worth his weight in gold, which he should be if he can get something off here. He's trying to come off to the side. Shuffle, meanwhile, just maneuvering himself around. A fungal growth goes down on 2 of those roaches. Oh my god, that is huge. Massive amounts of fungal growth going off there. Beautiful placement by DarkCell. He gets some more off. Here we go. As we can see, even more fungal growths going down. Now, we do have DarkCell just sort of retreating a little bit to make sure he doesn't take too much damage while these roaches are suffering under the pain of the fungal growth. he is really going to need some antifungal cream for those roaches. They're getting absolutely covered in it with these 6 infestors sitting up the back here. They are all out of energy now, but it looks as if the damage has been done. Shuffle needing to retreat, those 62 roaches being absolutely demolished. He is now back down to 23 in total. And as we can see here, Shuffle actually stating that he forgot Burrow. He meant to actually get Burrow, but he didn't get it. And as we can see, he's probably going to crank that out quite quickly on his tab. And it looks as if Burrow was not done, of course, for DarkCell either. So interesting to see that both of these guys actually didn't get their Burrow quite as early as they would want them to. But we'll see if that actually takes any effect in the next battle. Speaking of the next battle, we've got DarkCell just pushing up the left-hand side. Meanwhile, a flanking force is moving up to the 4th base of Shuffle. He's going to come in here, probably going to be able to snipe this. Shuffle's roaches are way on the other side of the map, so he's not going to be in position to come and counter this attack at all. And he's done the damage, and he's now running away. So brilliant little maneuver there from DarkCell. Meanwhile, if we have a quick look down here, he's taken a 5th, and he has taken a 4th. Quite daring to take the 5th, I would say, but if he can control this sort of area here, it'll be really, really good for DarkCell if he can keep that under control and not let any attacks hit. So we'll see if Shuffle can try and bring something to the foray to try and attack. But it looks as if Shuffle still, he's gone hard on that Burrow. He's got the Burrow done, plus he's now getting his missile attacks level 3, and also Roach Tunneling Claws. So we may see some burrowed roach movement. There aren't too many Overseers out on the map just at the moment. There are a total of 5, but I'm not sure of their positioning just for the moment. Fungal growth going down. Nice concave here for Shuffle, but it looks as if he may sort of be in a little bit of trouble given how much fungal growth is now coming onto him. Both of these players doing a fantastic job. Fungal growth going off all over the place. We need to see who is actually going to come out the winner here or put the health bars on. Looks as if this is really kind of even. Shuffle still has a slight advantage in his actual unit count, but both of these guys have done a great job with their fungals, and as you can see, this is a very, very even matchup here. The roaches of DarkCell will probably just come out on top here. Some micro attempts here from Shuffle to try and save some of his roaches, but just misses out on succeeding with that battle. And as we can see, more reinforcements are coming in here from DarkCell, so he's going to be able to resupply just a little bit quicker because that battle took place just a tiny bit closer to DarkCell's base, I would say, given that he's got the 4th and the 5th base already up and running here. So we'll need to see if DarkCell does get his economy up and pumping, because if he gets these 4th and 5th and keeps them going, he will actually be in a fantastic position. As you can see, Shuffle barely just getting up his 4th right now, and he's going to put down some spine crawlers to try and defend that against any sort of attacks. We can see some lurking little infestors here just sort of crawling around the map, trying to find something to target, but it looks as if he will be able to spot the fact that we do have the roaches here from Shuffle are actually coming across to defend the 4th base. Meanwhile, if we have a quick look down here at the natural of Shuffle, he's under threat here. A lot of roaches popping out. They are going to snipe out some of these infestors. As we can see here, the +3 weapons is just about to complete for Shuffle, so he will have a slight advantage in that regard because he does have the +3 on his damage, but it looks as if he will need to control his roaches really well to actually come out the victor here. There are so many infestors sitting up the back, and they are doing a great job of using fungal growth. Fungal growth on the ones on the ramp, which are going to block off any reinforcements if more come down from Shuffle. But it looks as if we do have some extra infestors coming in from Shuffle. He probably will come out the victor here now that he does have the +3 to weapons. And as we can see there, he does eventually come out with that victory, and the infestors finally get sniped off, although one is slowly crawling away. This one's going to try and get into the mineral line. Check that out. We got an Ultralisk Cavern here from Shuffle, so he's going to try and do a bit of a switch into that. Perhaps keep your eye on the production tab, and we'll see if he does indeed go for that. But for the moment, it looks as if we're going to continue this Roach Infestor battle, which is this sort of mid-game of Zerg versus Zerg. But I would seriously not be surprised if we see a couple of Ultralisks start popping out for Shuffle if he wants to try and take advantage of the fact that he does have that earlier tech. But as you can see, DarkCell coming up again to cause some harass here on Shuffle. We did mention before that the +3 to weapons is already done, so Shuffle may have an advantage here. If he uses a bit of micro, he may be able to... oh, he's going to transfuse. I thought he was going to do the single select on the roaches and try and burrow them to get their health back up, but it looks as if there's a battle on both sides of this map. We do have more infestors that have popped out for DarkCell. He's going to try and send these across and perhaps make another strike on the natural of Shuffle and see if he can get in there again. Let's just have a quick look at what's happening in the bases. We do have a hive coming up from DarkCell. He's going to have that ready to roll shortly. He has been spending most of his minerals and his gas, of course, getting these massive amounts of roaches out. And as you can see, his 4th and 5th have been chugging along quite nicely here. So he's going to be in a great economy position, just quite a bit ahead of where Shuffle is for the moment. Shuffle currently sitting at around about 1,300 mineral income with about 300 gas to the 2,000 income of DarkCell. So DarkCell's certainly in a great position here from an economy perspective. If we have a quick look, we've got fungals going on all over the place. This is a massive infestation of Zerg units. This battle is going on two fronts here. We've got infestors sitting around the side from DarkCell doing what they can. More fungals going off from both of these players here. And as you can see, we still have a bit more of a supply lead for Shuffle, given that he does have those the +3 is all done, and the extra little armor as well. But actually, speaking of supply, we actually have DarkCell just macroing up like an absolute beast. He's currently sitting at army count of 189 to Shuffle's 147. So I'm interested to see where Shuffle is going to go from here. It looks as if he does have a Nidus Worm on the way. Where is this one going to pop out? I can't actually see it just yet, but it looks as if we do have some infested Terrans in the back here. That those two infestors doing their job there. And where is the Nidus? Here it is. So we're going to have a Nidus attack on the 5th base here. If he can take this out, and if he can take the 4th base out, that would be really great for Shuffle. If he can just get rid of all of these drones especially, that would be a fantastic maneuver. It looks as if we do have DarkCell coming in from the side. He's going to rush up the ramp. An infestor would have been fantastic there if he could have kept one to block the ramp. But either way, the attack has done its duty. He sniped a lot of those drones and has taken out that hatchery. So great little comeback there from Shuffle. If he can continue this, keep up this harass, we may see him come out the victor despite being quite behind in the economy stakes. We do have DarkCell currently back up to 54 drones. Shuffle currently sitting on 42. So we'll see how these guys go from here. We still do not have +3 to missile weapons from DarkCell. It's kind of surprising. I'm just a bit weirded out that he hasn't gotten that. Another Nidus attack coming in from Shuffle. He's not going to get too many roaches out here. They will be doing a little bit of damage. He doesn't look like he's really taking out too much. He's just sort of lost those roaches for nothing, but he's certainly putting that Nidus Worm in the mind of DarkCell, and he's going to be really worried about perhaps his main bases here. If Shuffle can actually get an Overlord or an Overseer or perhaps a Changeling in and get inside and try and snipe out this Roach Warren, he will be in a great position, because then DarkCell will be set back quite a bit and will need something else to try and supplement his army diversity. So I say diversity quite lightly, given that it's essentially roaches and infestors and that's it. But as we can see here, the infestors do quite a job against these roaches. That infestor has had a death wish, but it looks as if we've got an attack from the south. The counter is coming up from DarkCell. Some fungals going down on top of DarkCell's units. Finally, some counter fungals there. Another big fungal going down on that group of roaches. We do see some more fungals against Shuffle's forces up here. These guys are being covered. They look like these huge cauliflowers or something like that. But we do have the battle is probably going to go the way of DarkCell, I would assume, given that he does have a lot closer army position to his base. Some infested Terrans are being popped out here, which will do a nice little additional damage here with their DPS to the forces of Shuffle. You probably want to try and retreat that infestor. Don't want to lose the infestors for nothing, but it looks as if he's not really too concerned about that. But you know why? That's actually because we have some roaches that attempted to come in here, and they actually did snipe out this hatchery that was here at the 4th base. Apologies, I did not actually see that, but there was stuff going on all over the map. GG, well played from Shuffle. That is it. He's had enough. He's lost that 4th. I'm going to assume that was just mainly because DarkCell has had this 4th up for a long time. He had that 5th up for quite some time as well. Not a huge amount of time, but he certainly did get a lot of economy advantage out of that. And as we can see from the army tab, actually, there it is right there. 171 supply for DarkCell and 86 for Shuffle, so he got quite behind there. But that was still a fantastic Zerg versus Zerg. You don't really see that sort of long sort of Roach versus Roach and Infestor battle, but it was certainly there. And it was a great game, so I hope you guys liked that one. Make sure you leave some comments, subscribe, all of that jazz. Thank you very much, guys. Cheers.